Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time to take you into a world that we all hear about it, but I don't know if we're really living it and seeing it. Our kids are. It's the world of esports. As we join the Valhallan Lake Forest Esports Connection with the guy who's at the center of it all.
That would be me.
Vincent Yard, welcome. Welcome, sir.
How you doing, Paul?
I'm looking forward to this one because you've not only got another parent to come on and give their perspective of why their kids are in esports or participate in your Little League program. I hear she's like a counselor or something at the school district.
Yeah.
Is that true? Here, well, welcome your guest here.
Yeah, so this is my guest, Christine Duncan. Very nice to have you on here today.
And let's get you closer to your mic, Vincent.
Oh, gotcha.
Or you can just pull it in close. There you go. All right.
Yeah, but it's really nice to have you on here. And then just what Paul was saying, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you. My name's Christine Duncan, and I'm a school psychologist, and I'm also a parent of an esporter. My son Tanner's been with Valhallan since last summer.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, so far he's been awesome, like for the longest time now.
Thank you.
So far, is that expected to change?
Well, I mean, it has changed.
So far.
In a good way.
Okay.
Not in a bad way. But no, I wanted to have you on here today to kind of talk about like when you guys started, like what really got you guys into this in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And what were you thinking? All I hear is get off of that game. There's no good in that game, and you're saying maybe we got to take
There
another look at it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to look at it through a different lens. I think it's misunderstood. So
yeah, so when you guys found us, what were you looking for, I guess, if that's my question right there.
So Tanner had been doing regular organized sports, all different sports like most kids. And then he expressed that he was just tired of it and said, I want to take a break. And of course, like any parent, I'm like, ugh, what are you going to do? You got to do something. But he was really falling into loving video games and playing them on his own at home. So it was the summertime. And I said, all right, I thought, well, then let's do something organized. Let me see if I can find a camp. And that's how I found you guys.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, just starting off, because he joined our Fortnite camp, I believe, and I mean, that one was just, the entire week was just giving any players who signed up with us just a taste of what Valhallan was, and I really feel like Tanner really just fell in love with Valhallan right after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did Tanner say when you said I got to go to camp? He said, Mom, I'm doing this on my own. I don't need to go to a camp.
Actually, he was excited. He was excited because he had not heard of anything like this, nor had any of his friends. I think he actually did tell a couple friends. They joined as well, so that helped to get him in the door. But he was excited to be around other kids. He's like, when I said the word arena, that their eyes just get huge. Yeah. To go be in an arena.
No, exactly. Yeah, when you hear that word arena, it even for parents, they're like, what do you mean arena? Like a gladiator stadium or something? Like, so like when they get to come into this place, like I just feel like the kids' eyes light up immediately. First to the color of purple everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then like once it gets started, it just expands everything that they think they know about video games. And that's why, again, I'm so glad to have you on here today, just to talk more about how parents start to view it as not just a hobby, and more as like maybe even a career in the future for them.
Absolutely. So Tanner, I mean, first off, you have like top of the notch technology and equipment in there. So the kids are so excited. Tanner was so excited to get in these like pro chairs and all the equipment and the lights, and it's just done top notch. And that's not an experience he has at home. So that was the hook. And then
what's it like to be part of a team? Because I think this still is an individualistic thing. My grandson plays Fortnite. Now, I guess he plays with people online, but I only see him solo sitting in a chair. I don't see him as participating in a team.
What I like about the team, because that came after the camp that we found out they had teams, and I thought this would be great because you get the community, the camaraderie, but the coaching. So when you're at home and you're playing on your own, you're coming across people you don't know online. Parents can't supervise all the time.
That sounds scary to me right away here. Yeah.
Right. And so my big fear was, who's he communicating with? What are his experiences like? Is this going to become as normal that screaming is normal when you're frustrated?
Yeah.
And that's, and so I felt by getting the coaching and being on a team, whether you're at home or you're going to the arena, they're getting right in their headset coaching as to, emotional regulation and how to calm down and how to breathe.
So it's not just how to get better, how to do this move better. It's how to be, what we all dream of, our kids in sports, learn how to cooperate, learn how to work together, learn how to accept defeat, learn how to be a good victor, learn how to be,
Absolutely. And you have somebody literally in their head
Yep.
gently coaching them. So it was even better than organized traditional sports where a coach is yelling at them what they should be doing or those type of things. And maybe 1 out of 5 messages are heard across the field.
Yeah.
It's going right in.
never thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I was telling Ahmad's mom, Monica, on the last one, is that we are actually in their heads, like not literally, but it's
They can't help but hear
they
you.
can't help but hear me. And then obviously, if some of those kids are a little more tech savvy, some of them have found a way to actually mute me on Discord. So if they're
kids.
in a match, then I get up and I physically tap them on the shoulder. And then that's the other thing too, is that it's just like you brought up the top-notch stuff that we have there, all of our computers and headsets, mouse, keyboard. We got all of it for you guys. And
So
I
it's
know-
real equipment. This is like
Yeah.
not playing baseball with a stick and a bat or something.
Exactly. Like
Right.
there isn't just like
It blows their mind when they walk in.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, because I played baseball. So it's like I used to have to go get the, little bats on the side if I didn't bring mine today or something. But it's like, oh, I didn't bring my keyboard. Or, oh, I don't have one. We got it right there for you. And that's something that actually I wanted to bring up was when Tanner started, he was actually on the Nintendo Switch playing Fortnite. And I mean, I've had a lot of kids come
We
in
were
there.
very entry level.
Yeah. And
That's why my grandson plays. And when I took him over there that one time, he's like, I don't know if I can make the switch. I don't know if I want to make the switch. Why should I make the switch? And you're saying, well, but you can do this and you can do this and you can't do that on the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, exactly. And then actually that first hurdle that we ran into was the whole thing with your account and Tanner's account, and me and my dad just put our brains together, figured it out for him. We got you guys on board and everything.
Yep.
And-
I did not know what I was doing. And they put their heads together and they just on their own time figured it out for me because I couldn't figure it out and
Well, how to
made
switch over the account or something, or how to
Yeah,
open it?
it was something because when you go to a PC, your account isn't actually linked to whatever account you have on your console. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so like we just had to do a little maneuvering.
They gave me all the IT support I needed.
Yeah, and then just from there, I mean, Tanner is like he's already a great kid, and he was a great addition to the team. He's actually like the glue for the team, I think, because he
Wow.
really just keeps everyone together and makes sure that even if I'm not in the call with them and I'm like maybe checking on another team, he's making sure that the team is on task and stuff like that.
Here's one of the things
really
I
appreciate.
observed. I only went over one time because I wanted to check that if I'm going to be commentating, if I'm going to be questioning, if I'm going to be the sidekick here, I got to have some understanding of this world I've never seen before, other than standing back and watching my 10-year-old grandson do this by himself, alone. I don't even know what he's doing or how it works. Here's the first thing I observed. The kids are present. Is that the word? They're attentive. They're there. You're not running around saying, come on, get over here. Hey, what are you doing over there? Hey, stop doing that. When I see them do any other organized activity, half of it is corralling them, like corralling cats, as they say, trying to keep them all together. And they're all talking. They're all goofing around. They're not paying attention. Is that because of their passion for the game?
I think a part of it is the passion, and I think a lot of it is because I tell them this too, like on some occasions. I just say, hey guys, you guys got to meet me halfway here. I'm going to give you my respect, so you guys give me your respect. And then it just starts turning into like a flow thing, so that when we go from the matches to the lesson part, they're already so focused that they're like, okay, yep, coach. All right, next step. All right, what are we doing next?
You've created a culture there. And that's what's difficult to do. And so it is the way you treat them, they treat you the same way back. It's this culture, and they hold each other to it now.
Yes.
And so I know.
I saw that some of the kids were almost like poking, hey, knock it off. He's talking here.
Yeah.
They're yeah, they're keeping themselves accountable.
Exactly. And now that we've gotten this far since we opened, we're starting to do actually different things. I wanted to bring this up on here. So in our practices, we used to actually just take a lot of notes and then just give feedback to them, or like the parents or the players, like in real time. But what we started to do now is actually kind of what you'd see in traditional sports, where we have drills on the game, or they're actually using like one of our like educational websites that actually help them be better with the mouse and keyboard. So every 15 minutes, I have like Group A and Group B and Group C and Group D, or however many we have, rotate into different like modes so that they do different things for those 15-minute blocks.
Like soccer drills or
Exactly.
baseball drills, where you just you run through the cones. I remember my daughter would run through the cones and push the ball and stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just glad, because we just did this, I think we started it last Wednesday, and it was a pretty good hit for the most part. And then this past Monday I did it, and everyone, like even my dad was there in the arena to let me know how it went, basically. And he was like, yeah, I had absolutely nobody was like, maybe getting out of their chairs and looking at another person's screen. They were like, okay, we're moving on to the next drill. And then if somebody was falling behind, what we did actually is what we're trying to do is assign team captains, but we actually changed it to be team leads. And until we figure out who we think is like the best fit for it, we tell the kids that have really stood out to us. Like me and my coaches come up with this, and we assign team leaders to essentially keep everyone on track no matter what. So that if we're not in the call, or if we're maybe not paying attention for just a second, and someone like falls out of line a little bit, then they're there to be like, hey, like a little, not physical, like tap on the shoulder, but just in the headset, they say, hey, let's get back on track here. Or like, hey, what are we talking about? Why are we goofing off? Something like that.
The other thing that struck me is they're not late. Oh my gosh, at baseball practice, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, they're still running in and everything here. These kids, you had one parent maybe on the show or told me later, my kid is pushing me to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like they want to be here. They want to get here as fast as possible. And I understand that for the parents, it's like a little bit of added pressure, right?
I haven't seen him be like that in any sport, though.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, have you seen him, as he exhibit that in other activities here? Come on, Mom.
No, and he's like, come on, we got to go. And the accountability, he feels very accountable. It's a supportive, gentle, but accountable
Yes.
environment. And like I said, it's just turned into this culture that's what's expected, that even though the drop when you guys start is at 4:30, that they're to get there early, and they need to log in and make sure they're all set up. And it's been great. I really think it's helped my son be more accountable in other areas as well.
Yeah.
And want that feeling of being early and being prepared, and that feels good.
Isn't that what we dream? Isn't that part of the reason they do sports, is to learn life's lessons, to show up and be there on time, and to work hard? And
Yeah.
And that's why I think that esports doesn't get enough credit for that, because people just think, oh, you're just online, and it's like they're gonna be playing video games anyway, regardless. So when I was thinking about it, I'm like, I want to make sure it's a safe environment, and that he's learning how to. We can't hide our kids from online stuff. It's just out there, but we have to teach them what to be safe, and to set boundaries and expectations for how they'll be treated, and who they're going to want to play with and interact with. And that carries over into life. And this is the only, I feel for us, the only way where I can ensure that. I couldn't be right there every second, and nor does he want to hear me in his ear. Monitoring and making sure he's safe, and he's understanding, hey, that person's being a little rough. Maybe you don't want to play with them, or they're having a meltdown.
What would you say? I'm gonna broach an ugly question here, but let's get it out there. Esports, to me, there's a lot of, shall we say, violence. There's a lot of kicking, fighting, whatever stuff here, and sometimes that's the rap that esports is. It's a violent world. You're a psychologist. Is this promoting?
No, I go against the grain on that. I have not seen any change where my son's, more aggressive or anything like that, because he is playing these games. Not at all. It's only enhanced who he is. He's doing better in school. This is the best leverage I ever had with the kid, is Valhallan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but
So if he
no,
gets on the line, you can say, well, then I guess
you're not, I guess you won't be going. I
Yeah.
guess you won't be
Yep.
going. Why, if you're going to waste my time, why should I take my time to take
Yeah,
you?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the best leverage. But no, I don't see, um,
People say about
a
martial arts
rise
as
no,
well. You know, the idea of
no,
that
it's
is
training. You train them.
Right.
It's, so it doesn't, it's about control, self-control. There's so much you learn within it.
Yeah.
It's not going to bring it out.
No, exactly. So, and I mean, yeah, like Paul's question, going
Just
back
like
to it,
martial arts,
it's
yeah.
just, you know, we can just put it out there. Fortnite has weapons in the game to eliminate somebody else out of the game, but that isn't what the players are playing it for. They're
No,
playing
the
it because they want to get a
strategy.
win. They want to have the strategy. They want to build camaraderie with their teammates, whether they maybe realize it or not. They want to keep playing with their duo or other player or in their squad with 3 other players. They want to keep having fun and compete together. And something that I've seen as Tanner's been here is that, like you said, it's only brought out like his biggest strengths, but also I've seen the level of focus and attentiveness and competition. Like he's ready to go every single time. He tells me, I'm like, hey, you ready, bud? And he's like, yes, I'm ready, coach. Like, it's not like no, like this, or like, you know, he's not anything. And even if he, like something that I've been teaching for like the longest time is, you know, how to handle a loss, how to handle a bad beat. And
that's never easy with
and
kids.
it's never easy, especially with kids. And I can understand that, and I'm sure you guys can understand that. You guys were kids once too. So it's like, when they get into that mindset, that's what I'm there to, you know, encourage and, you know, get them back on track. But Tanner just has an innate ability to just like keep a smile on his face and be like, okay, we'll get the next one, guys. We are good to go. We're fine. Let's just do this real quick and get our minds right, you know.
Yeah, they reset. It's building that resiliency, that grit. And I see that carry over into, you know, his
Into his-
personal life
Yep.
outside of, you know, at school when things are challenging and out self-advocating more,
Yeah.
understanding it's okay. I mean, there's so many failures in gaming.
Yes.
So it is constant, like, okay, pick yourself up. Let's go. No time to waste. Let's move on to the next one. And you see that carry over into their real life as long as, because you guys do it so gentle and like, come on, let's go. No big, shake it off. And it's not always that way in some organized sports, like traditional sports.
Yeah.
You know, you feel everybody moaning and groaning. It's the pace of it lends to a quicker bounce back and that resilience.
Yeah, yeah, and the biggest part of it is that, especially in his genre of like the team that he's on for Fortnite, the fact of it is that even if you don't get the number 1 spot and you win it all, like in that round, you still get points. And it's the whole way that the tournament works is that you gain points over the season. It's kind of like an endurance test basically, and it's a mental test for them to really see who's going to push forward no matter what happens. If they win, if they lose hard, if they win big. And that's why I'm like, me as a coach there, I'm just trying to get that through their heads, and it's been working as
It's
of late.
coming through.
Because then because what I did on one practice was I literally pulled up what the rule book says, and it says like number 1 you get 25 points, number 2 you get like 18 points, number 3 so on, and then so no matter what you're doing, as long as you get into those matches, you are earning points just by being in the game. So that's where the strategy comes in, to be like, okay, so maybe if I'm not that good at, you know, like battling out with other players, then maybe I just hide the whole game. Maybe I just take my fights, you know, in a
But you still get points.
yes. So
And you're contributing.
you are contributing, and that's why I push the whole thing of like, you guys are on a team. There's no I in team. So no matter who's on your team, whether they're new, whether they're more experienced, whether they're good at this or good at that, you guys just need to figure out how you guys make that work then. And it's not just on their own, obviously, but you know, I'm there to tell
Talk
them
about
the strength.
acceptance. That was another thing I saw there. It was a really level playing field. There are cool kids. There are not cool kids. There are the kids that are popular. They're the kids that aren't popular. They're the kids that are funny. They're the kids that are quiet.
Yep.
I saw them all there. I didn't see this was just like the cool kids club
Exactly.
or the dork club or whatever, you know,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
you know,
Another
right.
misconception is that video gamers are like these dark kids.
Right.
Yes, very big misconception, because I've had way too many kids I can't even count on my fingers that have blown me away with how much they love it and they're expressive and they you know, sometimes they get pretty loud in there. So then I like gotta, all right, guys, like let's focus back up. But more than anything, yeah, like they just they're not dark, they're not quiet, they're not all like sheltered like this. And if they are, it's just because they haven't been around other players in person like they are.
Right.
And even the ones that are virtual, those ones, I've had so many other parents tell me like, oh, like he's ready to get on his game and he's in the call and he's sharing his screen, sharing his camera, like literally giving a live reaction to how he's doing in the game.
Right.
So like they love it and they love to be there.
And I think it's important that they often have their school friends or their neighborhood friends, but then they have you want to have multiple groups of friends
Yeah,
for your
right.
kids, because sometimes things aren't going well with your neighborhood friends or your school friends. And so they have this whole other community and pocket of friends that they maybe wouldn't have met in any other circumstance.
Exactly.
And you know, as
They're not just stuck with who the kids are in the neighborhood, you know.
exactly, and it is a mix, and they see what they bring to the table, and everybody's accepting of everybody. And you know, after COVID, there was so much isolation, and a lot of people are quite comfortable just staying home. And now our kids are self-isolating, anxieties on their eyes, and depression. And so we really want to be making sure that our kids have, you know, connections as many places as possible. And that they're not self-isolating, because that was our norm for a long time. And now we got to reverse all that.
Yep.
And so this lends really well. So even if they're not in the arena, they're part of it. They can see you, they can talk to you, they know you. I mean, it's a couple times a week. They're connecting.
Yeah.
And I know some players will come in for special events and parties. You host parties and socials and things like that.
Exactly.
And they connect there. And
yeah, and the fact that we have an arena in itself means that those virtual kids, because they're not like a million miles away, like just so everybody knows, you know,
They're not
are
in some foreign country here
yeah,
necessarily.
they're only about like an hour, maybe 2 hours away, and they just can't get here, you know, at those times that we need them to be here. So, but what we also, I mean, of course we're going to allow it, but we allow them to, when we have special events or stuff like that on the side, other than the team stuff, or we even allow it for the team stuff if they just make a day to come down. But we've had so many parents that are usually virtual with their kids actually come down and meet the team and meet who they're actually playing with, and then it's no words can really describe how I feel when I actually see.
There is a connection there. It's hard
There
it's
is.
hard until you see it. Let me ask another hard question here. You guys were bantering about this beforehand. I think you're trying to form a team for this new game that's sweeping everybody, the Marvel.
Oh yeah, the Marvel Rivals. Yeah.
And somebody from another place said, could you take a girl player? Because sort of the girl player wasn't really accepted on the other guy teams that she'd played with.
Yeah, and it just goes back to what we were talking about with acceptance. Like, it should not matter. It doesn't matter. At least, you know, like, doesn't matter as long as you have a passion for the game, you want to compete. That is like the highest thing. The word compete and competition is what we're known for in the esports training. That is what we're here for. We're not here to worry about things like that. And yeah, when I was talking about it with you, another manager from another arena was like, hey, yeah, can you take one of our players? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, we'll get him added. Sounds awesome. And then he goes, well, I just got to let you know that
It's a girl.
And then and then I was like,
big disclaimer.
yeah, and
right. Sorry.
yeah, and like I don't want.
Oh, we don't want. I'm sorry. We're full.
Yeah, no, yeah, I just instantly was like, okay, like, cool. So what's their username? What's their rank? What do we got to do to get them on the team? And then they were like, oh, like, okay, yeah, just want to make sure I said that out there, like, plain. I was like, yeah, it's no worries at all. And then he explained, yeah, that on the past prior teams that she had been on, just, you know, just really, you know, out of taste things to be saying to somebody were said, and that's not what we do here at Valhallan. So, at least Valhallan Lake Forest.
I was struck. Was it last week's show? You had a parent on whose child has autism, on the autistic spectrum, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it's hard to find a place, you know, because they can't absorb input, and so they become more isolated, overwhelmed by lights and sounds and all these other things here, and maybe bullied. I don't know. Maybe people don't put up with this or accept them into their circles. And she said quite the opposite here.
Very much the opposite. And yeah, just to bring that up one more time, just like, yeah, he
particularly because he's good at this.
yes, and he's very good at it because he has a different strategy that a lot of people don't do, which what I was talking about earlier, which is they just don't really take that many fights. And then if they can get the jump on somebody, they do. And then all of a sudden, they're actually in 5th place, and they're above other teams. And then everyone's like, "What? All they do is that, though. They're not actually playing the game like we do." And it's
playing
like,
rope-a-dope, as they used to say,
yeah,
and
so
laying on the
now-
ropes like Muhammad Ali used to do.
exactly. So
Right.
now a couple teams are like, "Oh, maybe we should try that out." You know. So just the whole thing is that as long as you love playing the game that you love, or as long as you have a passion for what you do, and these kids, like, they will just take that and run with it as long as they're guided and as long as they're encouraged to keep doing what they're doing in a safe setting with us.
Last question. What are your expectations for Tanner? Is this is something's going to teach him some life lessons? It's something he loves to do, and that's where it goes? Or do you ever, like, parents immediately start saying, maybe my kid will get a scholarship, maybe my kid will do something with this? Anything on that level, or is this still
Originally, he was throwing that stuff out there, but it's kind of evolved, and I like where it's going because he's got a passion and all of that. But now he's seeing the areas he can go into. So when they first, like, they're excited and they're like, I'm going to be a pro player.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to be,
I'm going to be on Twitch and I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
make
be
$1 million. Yeah.
And he had that for a while, but now he's like, oh, actually, I think I want to be behind the scenes. I think I'd really like this, and I'd be into the design, or I'd be into, so now he's exploring other avenues of it. And I think that's probably more realistic for him.
Yeah.
And I could see that. And so he's now applying that to what he's doing now. Like, oh, I love art and I love this. So that would really lend to that. So he's making these connections of what he could do. And I think that's what I ultimately want, is for him to be exploring his passions and find something that is going to, a direction he goes in the future. So I do definitely think he'll go somewhere in the field. But I like that he's broadening what he can
And
do.
that's the thing that always struck me about traditional sports. My daughter was in basketball because I wanted to be in basketball. So I pushed her into basketball, and she turned to be pretty good, and she got into varsity and all this stuff. We went to the travel ball, and that was our whole life for years and everything. But when she didn't get a scholarship, which I shouldn't have been shocked because she's only 5'2", why did I think she was ever going to get? But you know, I'm 6'4". And I was terrible at it, so she had to make up for my failure and play the sport. When it didn't happen, it was over. There was no secondary corollary. I'll shift into this. I'll use that. It taught her teamwork. It taught her she liked doing it. But when it was over, it was over. There was no place else to transfer those skills. This is a whole world of creating the games and designing the games and programming the games and maybe putting on the games and sponsoring the games and working for State Farm Auto Insurance that wants to get into this world. I mean, there's so many other areas that I've been struck by that this could lead to something else much more in many ways than traditional sports can. You either make it or you don't in that world. And if you don't, then your life as a baseball player is over.
You're absolutely right. And I think that kids can make the connection of what they're doing and learning in school and make the connection of how it can translate.
Yes. Yeah. And if they can, then that's what my healthy habits are for. But.
And exactly. Your healthy habits are great. And Tanner really looks forward to those. He really takes them to heart and shares them with me.
He does. He's always raising his hand first. I'll say that much. So,
so what would you say? Any parent that's thinking, I don't know.
They're going to be gaming anyway, so you might as well explore doing it with esports so that it's healthy. It's they're learning how to do it.
Safe, healthy, all those good things. Yeah,
absolutely, and that it can grow into something bigger that they can make connections with. So I'm all for it. You have to experience it, I think, to really see how all the benefits,
if this is for them or not. Well, the fact that it's even in the field of consideration. There was only baseball, soccer, football. What am I missing? Now some of the other ones, lacrosse and all these other ones and stuff, volleyball. Now there's another one, and it really seems to function in the same way. At first, it doesn't seem like it's the same because they're not on a field somewhere, but they're in an arena, and they're competing as a team. Yeah, interesting. All right, thank you so much. Shout out. What's your son's name again?
Tanner.
Okay, is he listening today here?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Tanner. This is free. We got to get him in sometime here.
Would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
All right, take us out, Vincent.
All right. Well, I mean, if you guys want to have an experience just like Christine here and Tanner, honestly, I'm going to put it on here. One of my favorite players on the team. But you guys can come and check out our website. That's Valhallan.com, spelled VALHALLAN.com.
And anyways, to just come and experience. You do have some
Yeah,
nights where you
so-
can just do things and sample. That's what we took
Yeah,
my
so-
grandson
so
to
if-
one night.
Yeah, if you guys just want to come and just get a feel for how we do, our team stuff is Mondays through Thursdays. The games vary, so there's just that little thing. But please come try us out. It starts at 4:30 to 6:30.
But you have things like on Friday nights or something.
Yes, so
It's just-
Saturday nights we have a thing called
Saturday.
Parents Night Out. It's a 6 to 9 p.m. Where the kids just get to come in and socialize and meet other players.
You're
on
the
team.
babysitter. They can drop them off and sort of.
Yeah, if you really bring it down to that level.
But they can try it.
But yes, they can try that out.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much. And the site again is what, Val? Give it.
Valhallan.com, spelled Valhallan.
Thank you so much for coming in. This is a fascinating world I'm trying to understand as an old grandpa here, and I'm already amazed at the stories I'm hearing. I look forward to hearing more. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Another amazing story. Come back and hear more as we continue to explore this strange new world of esports. Right here in Valhallan, Lake Forest, Esports Connection. Streaming live on our community radio station, OC Talk Radio. From our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.